Hello, and welcome back to another read aloud of Because of Mr. Terupt. Today we are joined by two stuffed animals that both belong to my wife. This first one here, this unicorn with the blue eyes, is very special to my wife because it was purchased by her grandfather when he was still alive, and he bought it at the old Schmidt Pharmacy, which is now Two Hound Red. So this unicorn goes back a little ways. Diego is resting after a fun-filled word problem frisbee video that we filmed. I hope you've watched it. If not, please look for it. It gives a word problem that I want you to figure out. It does involve fractions and equivalent fractions, and one awesome dog doing a pretty cool treat. I am drinking out of my stay-at-home dog mom mug. Apparently I'm a stay-at-home dog mom now. And I filled it up with another shake. Lots of good fruits and vegetables in there. The only way I like kale is mixed into a shake with blueberries and peaches and bananas, a little bit of peanut butter. All right, so last we left off with Alexia's chapter, and four of the girls are at the hospital room visiting Mr. Terupt. And it looks like Alexia has apologized for some of her behavior and is becoming friends with the other three girls. Let's read on and let's get Alexia's perspective. There was no way I could, stay away forever, especially after hearing Luke say he'd been to the hospital. I didn't have a dad to take me, and my mom was waiting tables from noon to closing every day of the week now. That made it easy for me because there wasn't anyone at home to say, "Where do you think you're going?" or "You aren't going anywhere." But I was still scared. I made up my mind and, rode my bike there one day after school. I knew what room he was in because I heard Luke say it. When I got there, I went straight to the elevator and up to his floor. "Can I help you, honey?" one of the nurses asked as I hurried down the hall. I didn't even look at her. I just shook my head and kept going until I found the room. And then I walked in. My hands immediately flew to my mouth. I knew Teach couldn't move, but I hadn't expected him to be hooked up to so many tubes. I stood frozen for a long time. Slowly I found the courage to tiptoe closer to his bed. "Hi, Teach," I said. "It's Lexi." Already I fought back tears. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have been mean to you. I wanted to hate you for saying those things to me, but you were right again, Teach." I knelt next to his bed and pulled his blanket in my fists. Then the big tears came, raindrop tears. They poured from me. I couldn't help it. I cried like I used to when my mom and dad would fight. I sobbed for a few minutes before I wiped my face on his covers. Teach just looked like he was sleeping. Was he really gonna die? "I'm doing better now, Teach. I'm not being mean. You'd be happy." I squeezed his blankets in my fist again and clenched my jaw to fight back more raindrop tears. "Teach, there's something else I need to tell you. I'm not sure, but I think I saw Peter leaving here. He's the one who threw the snowball, Teach. I know he didn't mean it, but he didn't want this to happen. I know he loves you. We all do." I dabbed my eyes with a blanket and cried more now, but I kept talking to him. "Peter hasn't, said anything in school. He hasn't talked to anyone, not a word. But no one's trying to talk to him either. He did throw the snowball, even if you didn't mean for it to hit you. So it's his fault." I felt bad for Peter. Everything was such a mess, and I had so many mixed up feelings. I had my face in his blankets when I felt the tap on my shoulder. I looked up, and Jessica was there, and so were Danielle and Anna. I hugged them. I told them all I was sorry, and then it was over. All of a sudden I had three friends. Teach helped me, even in his coma. I missed him so much. He had to wake up. I had never felt so happy and sad at the same time before. That's a great chapter. Okay, Anna's chapter's next. Charlie is Daniel's 27-year-old single brother. He's the one who dropped Danielle off. Charlie is Danielle's 27-year-old single brother. He's the one who dropped Danielle off at my house, and he's the one who arrived to pick her up after the hospital trip. He didn't get out of his red truck and come to our door because he didn't need to. Danielle was ready. "Next time, I'll keep her busy so he has to ring our doorbell." "Thanks for taking me tonight, ma'am," Danielle said as we stood on the porch. "You're welcome over any time, Danielle," Mom said. "I'd love it if we could draw together." Danielle smiled at that idea. See you tomorrow, I said, and then we hugged. Thanks, she whispered. We watched her walk out to the farm truck with the dented door. I held my breath with the hope for the entire long minute. Then I was rewarded. Charlie turned his head and looked back. I saw his smile and friendly wave, a wave that Mom gladly returned. I walked to my bedroom and sat on my bed, suddenly exhausted. Mom sat next to me. Quite an afternoon, huh? She said. Yes, I said. Poor Lexia. No dad for her either? Everybody's got a story, Anna. I lay down and rested my head on my pillow. Mom lay down next to me. Is Mr. Terupt going to be okay, I asked. I don't know, honey, Mom said. I sure hope so. She wrapped her arms around me, and I started to cry. Is it my fault, I asked. Mom sat up. Is what your fault? Mr. Terupt lying in that bed. Anna, how could it possibly be your fault? Mom sounded shocked. Because I'm one of the kids who got Peter mad enough to throw the snowball. Anna, you listen to me. She sounded almost mad now. Look at me. Her eyes narrowed on mine. You didn't throw the snowball, nor did you force Peter to throw it. I'm not sure whose fault it is that this happened, or if that even matters, but I do know it's not your fault. Do you understand? I just want him to be okay. I know, honey. Me too. I never thought I'd have the courage to ask my mom the next thing that came out of my mouth, but my feelings just poured out after seeing Mr. Terupt like that. Do you ever blame me for what happened to you all those years ago? Blame you? Is it my fault that you were ostracized? Anna, honey, please tell me you're not being serious. I didn't say anything. My goodness. Mom placed her hands on my cheeks and spoke softly. Anna, I consider myself lucky to have you. I would endure all that pain again in an instant so that I could have you. I never blamed you, nor will I. You're everything to me. A tear fell from my mom's face and landed on mine. I've always been afraid that you'd end up hating me for bringing you into this situation, my mom said. You're the best mom ever, I said. I love you. I love you too. Mom bent forward and we hugged. Then she kissed me on the cheek and lay back down next to me. I wanted to ask her about Charlie, but I was wiped out, so I closed my eyes. Danielle's chapter. I'm glad we went to see Mr. Terupt. It wasn't easy, but it would have been a lot harder alone. I don't know how Lexi did it, but I'm glad she was there because, well, now we're friends again. I don't think she'll be mean anymore. I think Mr. Terupt helped her. Right from his coma, he helped the four of us make wrong into right. I didn't know about Jessica's father. She seemed so perfect. I thought her family was perfect too. I used to think Lexi was so lucky as well. Maybe I'm the lucky one. Even with this extra meat on my bones. Maybe we're all lucky for having Mr. Terupt. I've been trying to figure out why the accident happened. Every night I pray and ask for help in making sense of this whole tragedy. Mr. Terupt helped Lexi and us, and he helped me make it over to Anna's house. I want to go again. Her mom's very nice. And when he picked me up, I noticed that Charlie seemed to like looking at her. I decided not to say anything, though. Not to Charlie, or about wanting to go over to Anna's house again. Not yet. At home, Mom and Grandma asked me how my visit went as soon as I walked in the kitchen. Did that woman say or do anything crazy? Grandma wanted to know. Was she okay? Mom asked gently. She seemed fine, Charlie said. He came to my rescue and then walked out of the room. She was friendly, and I liked her, I said. Can we just pray together for Mr. Terupt? It's late and I'm tired. Sure, sweetie, Mom said. I could tell that Grandma didn't like this one bit, but she went along with it. In school the next day, Jeffrey asked a lot of questions about our visit. He had asked Luke questions too. How many tubes did they have hooked up to him? What was the name of the stuff that they were putting him on? Were they giving him blood? What was his heart rate? Jeffrey, stop, I said. We don't know the answers to your questions, and they're upsetting me. Sorry, he said. You should just go yourself. I saw him exchange a look with Jessica, and I got the feeling there was something I didn't know. I'm sorry, he said again, and then he walked away. Dear God, it's Danielle. Things down here are getting harder. I'm doing my best, but it's not easy. Thanks for returning Alexia. A brand new Lexi. I'm very grateful for that. But I'm about to ask for more. It's Mr. Terupt. He really needs you. He looked terrible when I saw him. There's so many of us down here that want him back so badly. He's the best teacher any of us have ever had, and I just know he's got lots of good left to do here. Comfort him if it hurts, and please heal him. And there's Jeffrey too. I saw how he gave Jessica a look. Something's up with him, so please help him too. And I'd like to pray for Jessica and Lexi and Anna, all three of them without dads. That's just another reason why we need Mr. Terupt back. And last of all, I guess I'm praying for me. I'd like to go over to Anna's house again. Maybe you can help with that. I've also been thinking a lot about who's to blame for Mr. Terupt's accident. I thought it was Peter because he threw the snowball. But after seeing Mr. Terupt, I'm wondering if it was my fault. Because I'm the one who suggested to go outside, and I helped push Peter down. So I don't think I'm completely innocent. Please forgive me for my actions. We got quite a bit left in the story, but I'd like to stop here because a lot's gone on. We're seeing how a lot of the students are finding a reason to blame themselves for the accident. A lot of guilt going around, but there's a lot of friendships being rekindled and made. Lots of good, lots of hardships. So, curious to see what happens next. I hope you're enjoying it. I'll see you next time.